All right, it shows that we are live. Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. I'm Jimmy Corsetti. My channel is called Bright Insight. And if you haven't seen my video that I made about this time last week involving the 1,000-ton stones that the Egyptians inexplicably moved hundreds of miles, this is going to be kind of a rehash of that, answering questions as well as looking at the notable comments surrounding this, as well as addressing other little things that have come up of people trying to explain what could have been done. So this is going to be a fun conversation. It's obviously a big weekend to everyone that celebrates Christmas. Merry Christmas. But yeah, I want to go at this for a good hour today. So I'll be paying attention to the chats as best as I can. And I want to see what kind of great questions you guys have. Let me just make sure everything's up on both. We are live on both right now. Yep, we are good to go. Super chats are welcome today. I'll definitely be keeping a look on those. And as more and more people filter in the next few minutes, I'll really start hammering in the point. But to those of you that already watched the video, what were your thoughts? Like I included multiple different examples, such as the two 720-ton Colossia Memnon statues. They were transported over 300, possibly 400 miles from Cairo to where they are now in Luxor. 720 tons apiece, carved from one single piece of stone. And then I included the 1,000-ton Ramesseum statue that was moved at approximately 150 miles. And it's one of the largest stones ever cut in modern human history. How did they do this? Because as you saw in my video, is that I included the example of the 340-ton stone that was moved in 2012 to the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, where they custom built this trailer. And to those of you who haven't seen it, I'm going to be showing photos and images in this live stream, so you'll see what I'm talking about. But they had to custom build this trailer, 260 feet long, 32 feet wide, 196 tires attached to 44 axles. And it took them 11 nights moving 4 miles an hour. And it was a year of planning from start to finish till they executed the project. It's like, okay, so it kind of puts into perspective that if the ancients were moving something that's 3 times as heavy as that, well, how the heck did they do it, right? So thank you everyone for tuning in. Again, I'm going to be keeping a close eye on these chats. I want to be able to answer good questions. Yeah, people are already talking about boats. Yeah, well, they would have moved it on the Nile. What Egyptian barge or boat could have lifted 1,000 tons? And what physics would have went into lifting that type of weight on and off the boat? There is no evidence that he had that kind of capability. They surely did move stones on the Nile. This was documented. That Diary of Mayor's receipts list that there was limestone blocks brought to Giza. But the thing is, that was brought from the Tora Quarry, which is like 8.5 miles away. And there are millions of limestone blocks in the Giza Plateau that are small, insignificant compared to the ton stones that were moved 500 miles into the Great Pyramid of Giza, hundreds of feet up. Not comparable. So someone said, "What's around Jimmy's neck?" It's just a shirt. Does it look like something around me? Let's see here. Give me 1 second. Make sure everything's on the up and up on these chats. Jimmy Canadian. No, I am not. This is a Christmas spirited shirt. Look, it's red. It's got pop. In fact, I feel like in the camera, it doesn't look as red as it is in real life. This thing pops. It is kind of Canadian mountain men, though, isn't it? So let's see here. All right. How many people we got in here? People are filtering in right on. Double check on Rumble. All right. Awesome. We got people tuning in. All right, everybody. So this is the thing. And let's see. We already got a super chat. Let's see here from Mr. Avatar. Stand by. So Jimmy, have you ever heard of Dr. Stone? The premise of the series is very similar to many you promote, and it's done in 2019, being ancient history to the people 3,700 years in the future. I have not. What platform is that on? I'm gonna have to check that out. Dr. Stone. That sounds like it's right up my alley. Someone says, "Looking sharp, Jimmy." Thank you. From Arizona. Hello from Brazil. Someone said, "Yo, I want this shirt." So I got it on this website. It's called bonobos.com. It's a men's designer brand, and this thing is awesome. It's real soft. I've had it for over a year now. I've worn it a number of times, usually around holiday season. I like this thing. It's soft as hell. I recommend. Okay, so let's see here. But yeah, ask me some questions. I'm going to be diving into this stuff, and I want to hear what people think of what I discussed. And I'm going to be getting into the so-called, or not the so-called, the Thunderstone of Russia. back in the late 1700s. They moved an alleged 1,500-ton block, which became lighter as they carved it down along the way. And a lot of people say, well, if they could do it, this is how the Egyptians must have done it. To those of you who aren't familiar with this thing, one, it's believed that the weight of that was grossly exaggerated. On Graham Hancock's website, there's an article someone made breaking down the math, and they estimated it at 400 tons. And that would make more sense to me because when I see the size of it, and I compare it to the size of stones at Baalbek, which are 1,000 tons, I'm like, no, I don't think so. I don't think that's the weight at all, not even close. But regardless, they moved it on ball bearings and iron sleds and on a track, and it took them 9 months to move it 3.7 miles. It's not comparable. And because the Egyptians are a Bronze Age culture, whereas the Russians in the late 1700s, that's Iron Age. There's a distinct difference. So we're talking about what the Egyptians could have done as a Bronze Age culture. This is based on what we were taught in school, right? This is where it gets fun because people are like, what about the Thunderstone? What about the Thunderstone? And let's assume it even was 1,500 tons. It's like, sorry, but the Egyptians didn't have iron sleds now, did they? And I would like to see a 2 million plus pound stone be supported on top of wood sleds. I don't think so, right? So this is the fun stuff. Let's see here. We got Mona. I'm so happy to see you back on YouTube. Thank you. So I've been seeing a lot of the feedback. People, although a lot of you guys like my live streams, a lot of people like, hey, Jimmy, want these typical presentations that you do. So I'm grinding those back out. I'm working out a deal with Rumble right now to be able to promote more of those types of videos because I'm saying, hey, I'm having fun with the live streams, but I feel like this isn't what I'm best at. And I feel like what my following wants most is my typical presentations. So I've got a second wind on that. I'm already working on my next video. I won't tell you the topic because this is something I've been sitting on and it's good. But that'll be done before the end of the year. That's all I'm gonna be working on between tomorrow. I'll have a day off for Christmas with family and stuff like that. But I'm gonna be hammering away at that. And it's time to just grind and make at least a couple videos, killer videos a month like I used to. So look forward to that. I'm excited about it. Let's see here. Let me keep looking at these chats because I really want to be able to do super chats and like be interactive with you guys on this particular day. I'm not bringing any guests on, and I just want to kind of have fun. If I sound sick, I'm already getting better. I woke up Tuesday morning like super freaking achy, chills, headache, and I was like that until yesterday. And I woke up today feeling much better. I'm just slightly tired. I actually feel pretty good now. A little bit of phlegm in the morning. Got to cough it up. Kind of gross, but like, man, the last few days, I don't know what it was, but it hit me like hard. But I'm strong. I bounced back quick. All right. So let's see here. Someone said Dr. Stone is anime. I'm not into the anime scene. It's hard for me to watch cartoons and animation stuff. But I'll check out this Dr. Stone stuff. Yeah, don't worry. They're putting vaccines in your food now. It's true. I think it's true. They're doping up them farm animals with it. All right, let's see here. I want to dive into this stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read off from my sponsor here in a second. As soon as I'm done coughing. Excuse me, it's a tickle in my throat. Okay, we got Sarah Renee X. So I was excited when you shared Atlantis and the Sahara Desert, but what if all the Earth is Atlantis, especially since all the technology was everywhere here and slowly we're uncovering our lost history? So I actually identify with that. My friend Nikki from the Nikki channel, she to me, Atlantis was an epoch of time that consisted globally, and I'm with that. Like I actually think it makes the most sense when I look at the lost history of South America and how it's so closely to whether it's Japan and Egypt or these polygonal stones. Although I do think that the Eye of the Sahara matches this crazy description of a city of concentric circles. So to me, I'm like, the Eye of the Sahara is something, and that needs study. And that's something that I'm like, it seems to make sense. If there was this lost capital city, that's got to be the place. But the search doesn't end there. Like I really, and I've made other videos on this, that I believe that ancient humans were a global civilization, and that there are signatures that are seen of stonework that are seen across the continents and the oceans thousands of years before that was supposed to be possible from what we were taught in school. So I'm with that. Excuse me. Okay, so let me real quick. I want to read off my sponsor to knock that out real quick. Now that some people have tuned in, and then I'm going to focus in on the rest of the video. So real quick, press the little button here. All right, guys. So Today's sponsor is Birch Gold. Let me read this off to you real quick. Diversify your savings with physical precious metals while stockpiling silver in your home safe. It's Birch Gold Group's most popular special of the year, now through December 22nd. For every $5,000 you spend with Birch Gold, they'll send you a 1 ounce silver eagle coin for free. Visit birchgold.com/bright insight to claim your eligibility now. You can purchase gold and silver and have it shipped directly to your home, or have Birch Gold precious metal specialists help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold for no money out of pocket. And they'll send you free silver for every $5,000 you purchase. Keep it for yourself or give something with real value as a stocking stuffer this year. Just visit birchgold.com/bright insight to claim your eligibility with an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of happy customers. And it's the best time buy gold from Birch Gold. Visit birchgold.com/bright insight to claim your eligibility for free silver on qualifying purchases before December 22nd. It ends today, that special deal. So go and check them out. And when it comes to gold, guys, with this economic situation we're in right now, especially with 401ks and IRAs, you got to back it up with something. And when I look at China stockpiling gold, and when I look at the incredible value of gold in India, which India has the world's largest population, and they are so into gold out there. It's a cultural thing. It seems to me that like gold is the one safe thing to be invested in these times. So I'll just leave it at that. But let's see here. Let me double check on some the comments here, and then I want to dive right back into talking about this video stuff. Mona N, planning any more trips to Egypt? Not at this time. I might be looking into doing a trip to India in January of next year. I'm working out some details with that. I'll keep you guys posted. I'm a little iffy right now because I'm like planning things out a year in advance when this world is so crazy is hard for me to stomach. So for me to promote a tour when it could be in jeopardy 6 months from now because this world's so crazy, it gives me an uneasy feeling. But at the same time, it's like I don't want to sit around waiting for the world to end when it doesn't end, and then I could have traveled and met interesting people and documented the most amazing sites on earth, right? But as far as someone said, why India? Oh my God. Look at the lost history of India. This will be one of the topics I'll be diving into coming into 2024 because we hear so much about Peru, we hear so much about Egypt, but India has some of the most spectacular sites in ancient prehistoric history. I mean, there's things carved out of stone that will blow your mind if you're not familiar. People in the comments, let these people know about how crazy ancient India is if you're familiar. Someone just said COVID ruined my Tokyo trip, so that's another thing. So I'm looking to make a trip to Tokyo to document some of their sites as well. And I want to knock that out real soon in the next few months. So I'll keep you guys posted. What's good, my ninja? Thank you, Drek. So let's see here. I'm looking for comments. Let's see here. I'm toggling between YouTube and Rumble because we're live on both of them right now. So bear with me. But what I really want to hear from you guys is what your thoughts are on this video that I just made. I mean, I have been, if you're following me on Twitter, X, or Instagram, and if you're not, I encourage you to, especially Twitter. I mean, Instagram's such garbage. They censor, but I'll use them for now. You know what I mean? Like, it's like in my line of work, you kind of have to have a social media presence. I mean, I'm not on Facebook, even though Facebook owns Instagram, so it's one and the same at this point. But anyways, I've been really blasting out over the last couple months saying, like, how did the Egyptians move 80-ton stones 500 miles away into the king's chamber in Grand Gallery, 300 feet up? And so I was kind of leading into that because I knew in the back of my mind, I'm like, that's not the most impressive thing they did. Yes, moving 80-ton stones 500 miles and lifting them hundreds of feet above ground level and stacking them is unbelievable for what we think we know about the capabilities of the Egyptians. But then when you get these 720-ton statues, the Colossi and Memnon, and then 1,000-ton statues such as at the Ramesseum, they're removed hundreds of miles. See, this right here goes into the realm of like calling the known laws into physics. And I mean by that, as far as, let me rephrase that actually. It calls physics into question from the standpoint that when I'm going to show you what, and as I showed in my video, and I'm going to show you pictures of, in this live stream here in a moment, what it took for us to move a 340-ton stone in recent times, it's like, it's these kind of examples that give a proper perspective on just how insanely heavy 1,000 tons is. So with that being said, let me bring up some of these pictures here. I just want to make sure I'm not missing any good questions. All right, so hold on a second. Let me bring this stuff up. And I'm going to show you this 340-ton stone. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right. 1 second. Hit this. I need to have a producer helping me manage this stuff, right? Okay. Present, share screen. 1 second. All right, I'm going to share the window, entire screen, share. Okay. Make sure this is working. All right. Let's make sure you guys see this. Y'all see this? Let me double check. Yes, you do. All right, so this is an article here. This is 2012. The 340-ton stone moved 106 miles to the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. It was called the largest operation of its kind since the Egyptians built the pyramids. Cost $10 million. And this thing, this stone right here, this is a work of art, in case you needed to be reminded. And it's called levitated mass because, as you can see, they tried to design it to make it look like it's like hovering or something. I'm sorry. Okay. I think it's dumb. I think it's such a waste of money, but I'm so glad they did it so we could have a proper example in modern times of what it takes to move something of such incredible weight. 340 tons, and it took, yeah, 21 feet, it stands 21 feet high, 32 feet across, and okay, this source is wrong about a 294 uh, length long trailer. It's actually 260, but 196 wheels, costed $10 million to move. Let's see here. Hold on. Bear with me. 196 wheels, 44 axles. And all right, so here's the deal. They had to build this thing custom around the original location at the quarry of the stone. So, like, they had to bring all this out here, custom built this whole big rig. Look at this thing. This is what we're talking about. 260 feet long, nearly 200 wheels to move 340 tons. Look at these pictures. This is so epic. And I remember seeing my video. I got all kinds of awesome comments. People who are like delivery drivers saying, I saw this. I saw this when it was happening. They were closing down the roads. And they surely did. Look at this project. All to move one 340-ton stone. So when we look at examples like this, and then hold on, I'll talk about this in a second. Let me back out 1 second so you can see what I'm talking about. So if that's 340 tons, then when it comes to the 720-ton Colossae of Memnon, which, yes, both were carved out of one single piece of stone. The one on the right was heavily damaged and later reconstructed. In fact, apparently the Romans did reconstructive work on it too. The one on the left is obviously damaged, but it's far more easier to see that it's out of one piece of stone. And here I'm citing my source here, Encyclopedia. 720 tons each, both carved from one single block of sandstone. Look at these suckers. Pictures don't do it justice. I've seen them in person. They no longer let you stand next to them, so you have to find really old photos. But when you do, compare it to people. You know what I mean? The pedestal itself is smaller than, people and men. Look at that, 60 feet tall or 18.3 meters. Pictures do not do it justice. It's one of those things, you'll hear me say it a million times, but these things are absolute behemoths. I did find some photos in modern times of them doing some restorative work on it, and so you compare it to a grown man. Look at that. Look at this guy. Not even half the size of the lower leg. These things, look at this, barely taller than the ankle. Absolute behemoths. And not only that, most of the pedestals are still buried under the earth, and that's not even part of the stone. The pedestals, I heard, are estimated at something like 300 tons, assuming that that's correct, but within the hundreds of tons, no doubt more than 100 tons, maybe 200 tons. It's hard to say, but in the realm of hundreds of tons. Most of it you can't even see because it's submerged beneath the earth. And so when you realize that these are literally more than each one of these by themselves are more than double the weight of that 340-ton stone that they went to all that undertaking to move. And look, science, 720 tons. Because some people say that's a gross exaggeration. They're not 720 tons. I've seen comments like that. I'm like, okay, well, here's your scientific journal that says so. And that they were moved from Cairo, a quarry in Cairo, more than 300 miles as the bird flies, or nearly 400 miles by road. So quite interesting, right? So I point that out. And then we go over to the Ramesseum, which is 1,000-ton stone that's now broken. There's me standing next to it. I'm 5'10" or 178 centimeters, to anyone that's curious. Look at the foot. And one of the questions I had when I'm seeing this statue, and again, you see it with a grown man on top of it. Doug, I went to Egypt with him. Great guy. it still doesn't do it justice. Like what you see with your eyes in person, and in all these pictures, I'm taking an ultra wide lens with like an $800 camera lens to be able to get the whole one picture, but it distorts it, and that, like you're like, oh, okay, I'm not sure how big that really is. But when you stand next to it, even with these photos, and you're seeing like, okay, it really is big. The top of the foot is up to my belly button. But when you see it with your own eyeballs, it's a whole different animal. It's just like, whoa. But the question I have is, why is this thing broken down into smithereens? Let me show you the aerial shot of it. This is what it used to look like. It was a seated statue, over 60 feet tall, um, wide as hell. And yeah, 1,000 tons. That's according to the University of Chicago, prestigious school for ancient antiquities. This is me showing an example of how much 60 tons is. We keep going by it. Let me back out of here so I can show you other stuff I was going to lend your eyes to. And the other thing is, so the because I'm such a nerd, I like looking this stuff up. The world's most heaviest ultra. Let me reword this. Um, the biggest ultra haul truck in human history is this bad boy, the Belaz 75710. This thing can move 496 tons. Look at this thing. The highest payload on Earth. The tires themselves are 13 and a quarter feet tall. You have to go up two flights of stairs just to reach the cockpit. Look at this thing. This thing has 8 tires, and I've seen some sources ranging from $60,000 a piece to $99,000 a piece per tire. 8 tires. You compare it to the largest bull African elephant, which are at 13 feet tall, and this thing is right about that same height. Look at this. Yeah, I see $60,000, but then I see another source for 99,880 per tire. There's 8 of them, 496 tons. So, in other words, that 1,000-ton statue of the Ramesseum, this thing could only lift half of that weight. The world's largest, highest capacity payload truck on Earth, and I'm not saying they would use a dump truck to move something like that, but it just paints us a picture of the insane amount of weight that we're talking about here. And it would be equivalent. That 1,000-ton statue is equivalent to the weight of 8 of these bad boys, M1 Abrams tanks. So real quick, let me just go to my. Let me just end the screen for a second. Okay, so let me just double check. I want to see what comments you guys have for me at this time. Let me make sure I haven't missed any super chats. Thank you so much, BMW X3M. Drek says, "Can we raid the Egyptian tunnels? Like, screw it, let's do it." Also, you got to have some brass balls, call these fools out. West Side, get the money. Oh, that's funny. I am not going to encourage any type of raiding of anything, but if enough people went down there and kind of stop you from going through some of those gates. But that's the thing. If you go in Egypt, there's so many locked gates all over the place, so that kind of raises some questions. Let's see here. Yeah, what questions do you guys have involving this stuff? Because this is just, to me, I'm like, this is just too much fun. All right, let me check my Rumble chat. Let's see here. All right. Let's see. One tire is like 30,000 USD. Okay, so on their website it says $60,000, and then that other website said 99,000. I don't know if that's an older quote, but straight from the actual manufacturer from Belaz, they said it was $60,000 a pop. So if you can get the hookup in that $30,000, let's see who is Elemental Gaming. And even if that's the case, so 8 times 3, you know, holy crap, $240,000 for those. Or if it's 60,000, and then or if it's 99,000, so it's anywhere, upwards of possibly $800,000 for all new tires. More like 400,000 though, if that's the case, being $60,000 each or so. Wild stuff. Yeah, bring Laura Croft on my next excursion. You bet. um, let's see here. I want to answer a lot of questions from this. This will make it a lot of fun. Hey, Jimmy, hooked up on your pod from London. Right on. Thank you, Birkin. Jimmy, do you believe that the Hall of Records was opened or still buried? Dude, I don't know. That's a really good question. I think that there are absolutely underground tunnel. Well, there are underground tunnel systems in Egypt. The question is, was there a labyrinth? And people hundreds of years ago were writing about a labyrinth underneath the Giza Plateau. So yeah, I mean, whether if the Hall of Records was there, man, that shit has been explored, I think. Because what do you think the powers that be would be doing nowadays? And they've done so many things in the DL in Egypt. It's hard to know. Thank you so much, Jersey Devil. Love the show. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Mhm. Let's see, hey, Jimmy. When are you gonna do a collab with the Y Files? Hopefully soon. I love AJ. Guys, the Y Files is my favorite channel. That guy is killing it. He's doing all the best. He's doing all the best topics and doing the best job explaining them. He does deep dives. He's doing proper research. He's getting clarification. I'm learning things from him. If you're not subscribed to Y Files, I highly recommend. It's so engaging. The way he does it, it's just awesome. He's really got his way on that, and like he's killed it. He's over 3 million subscribers, completely killing it. The guy inspires me, if I'm being honest. All right, productive ink. Humor me. Have you ever speculated about the possibility of gravity naturally changing throughout history, allowing feats that we could not see as impossible as being possible? Actually, yes. I do wonder if the size of Earth has expanded. In fact, I bet you that it has. Can't prove it, but if that's the case, wouldn't that have an effect on gravity? I would think so. I don't know exactly how gravity works. That's still kind of a mystery in its own way. I mean, we can measure it, but like it is kind of there's some mysteries involving the source of gravity. But like when I look at like the time of the dinosaurs and how big everything was, it does make me wonder if Earth was smaller and because of it, the gravity was lighter. I don't know. That sounds wild to some people, but I entertain it. I wonder. I don't know. I'm not pushing the concept of that, but I do wonder these things. BMW X3M again. Jimmy, please do a video on Ajanta Cave in India. Ajanta caves are older than Egyptian pyramids. Let me double check which ones you're referring to because the name doesn't look familiar, but I do know about caves in India. So let's see if these are the same ones I'm thinking about. Oh, yeah. Yep. These things are absolutely amazing. Let me bring this up so everyone can see it in the chat. 1 second. All right. Let me know you guys can see this. All right. Carved out of stone. These are what you see here is completely carved out of just not just one piece of stone, but out of a cave, out of a mountain. Look at that. Actually, let me not hit that. It'd be annoying. And then they just show you like ancient. Let's see, India ancient sites, and there's just so many different things to see. Like everything, just out of one. Like right here, that's out of one solid piece of stone. Amazing, and the details of it are spectacular. India is a lost gold mine for ancient history. Like, look at this stuff. All this might be blocked down. Actually, I'm not gonna say that's out of one piece of stone, but there, like this right here. I forgot what this particular site is called, but yeah, carved right out of the side of a mountain. Amazing, absolutely amazing. So yeah, as you can see, this place is on my list. Spectacular. Let's see here. Okay, let's see. We got Josh LeBlanc. Do you think there's a connection with the UAP phenomenon and Los Angeles civilization? Yes, I do. I'm leaning in that direction for sure. If you want me to tell the truth, and all I can do is say the truth. When it comes to these UAPs, man, like this stuff goes throughout history. Even Christopher Columbus had described this red orb that followed them for a period of time when they were crossing the Atlantic. There's been some weird stuff that has been said over history about these things. Um, and I'm wondering if it's humans, if it's us or our creators or whatever, just documenting us, but they've been around. I I tell people they're like, "Oh, do you think aliens could have done this?" And I'm like, "We are the aliens. I think that we're a mixed species." This is something that not everyone agrees upon, but something just seems that we as humans don't assimilate with our environment like all the other insects and animals of the planet, right? We leave a big stain. It's almost like we don't belong here. Not everyone's gonna agree with me on that. Leave a comment, share your disdain. Let's see here. 1 second, I'm gonna make sure I don't miss that. Okay, I got all the super chats. Leave any other comments. Let's see. Jimmy, I'm curious. Do you think India holds some secrets to advance ancient civilizations? Well, I will say some of the most sophisticated relics of ancient civilizations. Some of the stuff I just showed you, like their stonework, is mind-boggling. So I gotta cover that in a comprehensive video. So stay tuned for that. India is the one thing I haven't covered yet, and I've been so big on Egypt, Atlantis, South Peru, polygonal stonework throughout the continents, but like India is the one thing I haven't touched on yet. Let's see here. But I am curious about your other thoughts on like that big ass truck and all these 1,000-ton stones. It's like, how do they do it? Like, if they're gonna say that we move this stuff on logs, what log is gonna support 2,000,000 pounds, such as with that Ramesseum statue? I need to see that, and I'd like to see that 2,000,000 pounds being lifted on and off of it too. By the way, I just need to see that as well. I need to see. They're like, well, the Egyptians probably had barges. What barge? What barge? Doesn't mean they didn't, right? I wasn't there, but like they left absolutely no explanation for that. Not of stones of this weight and magnitude, for that matter. And some people will just discount and be like, well, they just scaled it up. If they did it some, they could have done bigger. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense at a certain level. When you're going in the range of hundreds of tons, it becomes a whole different animal. And then when you get up to 1,000 tons, this is what I call stupid weight. It's so heavy that it's dumb. You could have impressed me if you done half the weight, kind of a thing. 500 tons is impressive, enough to blow my mind. But 1,000 tons is just so next level. It's like, why? Why? How? So, yeah. Let's see here. Sound vibrations. I'm open to that. So everything's a frequency. So if they found a way to harness it, that could be the lost ancient technology that we've been looking for. But it's like, what does that look like? Come on, guys, keep going with these questions. This is fun. Let's see here. How far into this am I? Right on. Okay. All right. What about Indonesia? The oldest pyramid is there. Oh yeah, Gunung Padang. I always say that incorrectly. Yeah, that's a pretty wild sight. I know Graham Hancock touched on it in Ancient Apocalypse. There is a cavity down in there that has been dated for over 20,000 years old. All the academic skeptics and say there's it's just a volcanic tube or whatever, lava tube. I'm like, have you investigated? Have you excavated it? No. Stick some cameras down there. Let's investigate. Let's do a excavation of it. There's so many unknowns to it. We don't know what's in that cavity down below. Ground penetrating radar has identified the cavity and dating when they've gone down to take samples. The further they go down, the older it gets. And so, to me, that site needs more investigation. And at this point, anything that the so-called powers that be are trying to take your mind from just makes me want to look into even more. Yeah, so Beef F said, I just learned about Chinese pyramids. Any chance you go to take a look? Yeah. So I've covered this briefly. What was one of my prior videos, or maybe it's on social media. I've been covering it, but a lot of people don't realize that there are unbelievably impressive pyramids in China, and China is as mysterious as it gets, right? And their lost history is something else. Like thousands of years ago, they cut themselves off from the rest of the world, and they went from being this very generous, outgoing culture to something happened, and they just cut everything off. It's very interesting. I don't know if it was the Ming Dynasty. Which dynasty? I don't want to speak right now, but it was one of them a while back where they just completely closed themselves off from the world. Very interesting stuff there. But that's the thing. Why are there pyramids in China? And I should bring up some pictures here, but let's see. Let's see. All right. Come on, guys. Keep coming with them questions, or I'll go back to showing you slides of this awesome stonework. Let's see here. Doo, doo, doo. All right. Just keeping up on both chats. I want to give love all the way around. Rumble. All right. Got a good amount of people watching here. All right. They got us on the homepage. How cool is that? So, to anyone just tuning in, I've been covering my recent video where I talked about the Egyptians moving 1,000-ton stones hundreds of miles, 720-ton stones 400 miles. And this just far exceeds the known capabilities of the Egyptians. If you haven't seen my recent video on this, it should be at the top of my feed. Go check it out. If you're not following me on Twitter and Instagram, do that as well so you can keep up to date. Because those videos didn't get as many views as they normally do, which is interesting. But so let's see here. Yeah, pyramid in Bosnia. So, guys, I haven't really looked into that, and it's just not. I'm not saying there isn't ancient stuff there. I'm not saying that's not the case. But as far as being a pyramid, if you look at it from the other side, it's really just looks like a mountain. I've looked into this. It's a very touchy subject because I see people just passionately go and support that it's a pyramid, but Look, Graham Hancock went there and he very politely told others that it's like, nah, it just wasn't. Maybe there's some ancient stuff there, but he thought that it wasn't what it was being portrayed as. I'll leave it at that. I haven't been there myself, so I shouldn't speak too hard on it, right? Let's see here. Okay, M, thank you again. She said, "Have you heard of the Sphinx or Romania or the Horabacio in Silva? Siva? This forest was named the most haunted forest in the world. UFOs show up there. No, I'm gonna have to look into that. I'm not familiar, to be honest with you, on that one. Let's see. Commentary 101. Thank you so much. It's very generous. Are you people being sacrificed to the sky gods, aka UFOs? Are people being sacrificed? You know, I'm gonna go with no. I don't feel okay. This is where it gets complicated because there are a ton of people that go missing every year, right? I just assume they're getting sold into sex slavery, or that there's just a whole bunch of serial killers out there, more than we realize, still doing their thing. Uh, I think that if it were the case that UFOs coming in, they'd be indiscriminately just snatching people, and so I think it'd be more apparent. It's possible, but I'm just not so sure that's what's going on. I just don't. I don't even want to believe that, right? I don't know. I feel like there'd be more stuff going on. I feel like we there's so many billions of us now, right? And so many of us have these cell phones and cameras and security systems and ring cameras and everything else. If they're going to be abducting people, it's got to be in the middle of the woods while they're camping, right? So that being said, there are these missing people. If you've seen the missing 411, was it Paul Salades, or I'm mispronouncing his name, but he's talked about this in depth. And there are some weird stories of people going totally just vanishing without a trace in national parks throughout the United States. And a few of the cases I thought, well, I don't know if that's that convincing, but a few of the other cases I saw, I was like, oh, this is weird. Anything's possible. Um, Pebble Trader said modern river barges can carry 2,700 tons. Doesn't it seem more likely that they went that route than carry over land and mountains? Occam's razor. Yes, I would say that by sheer logic, it would make sense to carry 1,000 tons on the river. But the question becomes: is what evidence is there that the Egyptians of 30 3,000 plus years ago, at the time that these monuments were constructed involving the Ramesseum, um, what evidence is that the Egyptians could carry anything even remotely that heavy? Um, the largest stone boats, or excuse me, the largest boats ever found from ancient Egypt cannot support stones. There is evidence that they did carry smaller limestones, but when we're talking in the realm of 1,000 tons, even though we could do that in modern times, I don't know what capability the Egyptians could have possibly have had to finagle that stones of that weight on and off anything, and what boat they could possibly create that could handle that kind of weight. I don't know, like, but it's possible. I'm not gonna say it's not possible. It's just that I really need to see a demonstration. And a number of years ago, they did a demonstration where they moved some block that was like 2.5 tons, and the thing flipped over. I'll also say this: that if the Egyptians had brought countless stones on the Nile, where are the stone blocks at the bottom? Because surely there would have been incidents where things would have fallen over. There would have been accidents in ancient times. There should be a plethora of ancient stone blocks just at the bottom of the Nile, and they haven't found such things, which is interesting. Um, let's see, Paulides, David Paulides. Yeah, I recommend that one that he had just a few years ago. I watched one of his documentaries on the Missing 401. It's pretty creepy in a fun way. All right, let's see here. Jimmy should share a bit of his encounters in the paranormal realms. I sense he's explored the astral plane. I've had some bizarre synchronicities. I haven't had anything totally paranormal, but I have had. I'll tell the story sometime. It wasn't like ghostly, but I know people are going to yell at me for not finishing this story. Um, I'll hold off on it because it's such a special story and it ties into a moment in my life when I needed a sign. So I'll save it. I know you don't like hearing me like starting a story but not finishing it, but it's just the right moment to share it. It just is. And so he looks like he smells really good today. Thank you. I showered and everything. Best channel on YouTube. Thank you. Let me filter between the comments here to see what people are saying. I want to entertain some questions. This video is about the video I had just made, or this live stream is about the video I just made. And I'm telling you, I don't know if you guys saw Tucker Carlson, who I deeply respect. if you just people who don't like him, I'm like, "Do you guys not listening to what he's saying?" He recently, on 2 different platforms, one on the Roseanne Barr podcast, as well as a speech he gave in Las Vegas a few weeks ago, he said, "It is a known fact that there is the we have no idea how the Egyptians constructed the pyramids." And I'm like, "Yes, somebody like him to say that out loud is going to help the community grow for other people like boomers to be like, "Oh, well, I'm sure the Egyptians figured out some way to do it." It's like, no, like this is far more of a mystery than people realize. So I'm happy to announce, speaking of Roseanne Barr, so I just went on her podcast on Monday. I don't know exactly when it's going to air, maybe the week next week or the week after. They have a few things lined up, but I had an hour and a half long podcast with Roseanne Barr. This was so awesome, man. We went full conspiracy. This is gonna be, mark my words, there's gonna be hit pieces on this. Like, we went hard after some things. We talked about all kinds of different stuff. I think you guys are really gonna enjoy it. I even guys, I made Roseanne Barr laugh her butt off for a minute there. It was like a surreal moment. Man, and her and her family is so down to earth and so lovely. It's interesting meeting that's a total legend, someone that has so much celebrity to them, such a notable person, and then meeting them and seeing what they're like in real life, and I was just blown away. These are such smart, sweet, loving people. Her and her whole family, I was just blown away. Um, so let's see here. Let me look through more of these comments. We're getting a good amount in here. So it said, Jimmy, hook up with Luke Rudowski from We Are Change. Dude, I met him at the same event when I met Roseanne. He was there at the AmFest event in Phoenix that I was just at. He's a cool guy. I met him at Mar-a-Lago when I had the opportunity to go there as well. And I was talking with him and Ian Crossland and about doing some sort of collab and going on a show in Miami. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. We were talking about that. All right, let's see here. What other super chats we got? I don't want to miss any here. Okay, we got Amik619. Please, everything in the universe is frequencies. If there has to be something there, I want to know what you think about that. Well, it's just like Nikola Tesla said. It's all about frequency and vibration. Um, the whole universe is measured in frequency. Sound, even light, is measured in hertz. Atoms themselves are said to vibrate and be held together by this mysterious force of energy that just keeps rejuvenating itself. That in itself can be measured in the frequency. So I think that this whole universe is one big illusion in the best way possible. It's intelligent design. And what I'm saying right now might be considered future science to some people, and that like it'll be understood, by science in the future. Whereas right now it sounds like conspiracy to some people or just over the top pseudo or whatever. But no, it's real. Let's see here, real quick. People smash the like button if you haven't done so already. Thank you so much, Feidu Rico 44 for that super chat. I appreciate it. All right, let's see here. What other questions you guys have? Let's see here. I gotta have an assistant here with me to like help read these things off. But you guys are awesome. All right. Um, let's see. Oh, you guys are awesome. Okay, it looks like we just got a huge super chat here. Oh wow, $50 from JL. Hey Jimmy, what do you think about this guy's theory? He has put out a video showing how it's possible to float stones, which seems very possible. The video name is quote, uh how were the pyramids of Egypt built part one? I feel like I've seen this. Let me bring this up on my YouTube. How were the pyramids built part one? And I'm gonna like share screen this so we can all take a look at it. Okay, hold on one second. Add to stage. Boom. All right, so we're not gonna listen to it, but I'm gonna do like a brief skip around to kind of give us an idea. I want to honor your super chat by looking into this briefly. This won't be doing it justice because I'm skipping around and not listening to everything, but I want to just see the gist of what he's showing here. Bigger for us. Oh wow. Okay, so I'm already intrigued. one thing that goes to my mind is like, hey, well, I need to see a 720-ton stone and a 1,000-ton stone being done like that, right? The Nile River was once 8 miles closer to the pyramid than it is today, so that's worth mentioning. It went right up there, so I love that he's showing that. Oh, this is wild. I'd be curious to see what mechanism they're showing for lifting, what's causing the floating, excuse me. Obviously, I have it, can't hear it, so like we're missing key info here, but I at least want to entertain this unique theory, like Panama River style or Panama Canal style. Interesting. Oh wow. So I don't know, like I'm already, I'm of course skeptical. I need to see things, when we see computer animation and everything, it's a great way of painting a picture for how something's possible, but I just need to see things tested, right? That's how I that's how my brain works. This is pretty cool. This is something I'm gonna have to dive into more. That is something new to me. I briefly had saw this somewhere, but yeah, I like it. It's just that the first thing that goes through my skeptical brain is let's see it done with a because that's what we're dealing with now. Now it's not about like, well, how did they do it for 2, 3, 4, 5 ton stones in Egypt? Now it's like, now I need to see 1,000 tons or nothing or bust, right? It's like I need to see how they did the biggest stuff, and then we can talk about the smallest stuff, which is the most fair way to go about it. Let's see here. Oops. Let's see what else we got. Sneaky Coma. Have you heard of the team of archaeologists who drilled at the foot of the Sphinx with a drill bit? Apparently, they hit granite at a crazy depth. So I am familiar with what you're talking about. I don't know about them hitting granite, but I know that they had drilled in front of the pod to explore for a ground cavity, and there's a cavity underneath the Sphinx's paws. They say, "Oh, there's nothing down there, so don't worry about it." Oh, by the way, there was a follow up from JL, another 50. Very kind of you. By the way, I'm a huge fan and have been for years. Thanks for what you do. JL, you just gave me $100. That is so generous of you. Thank you so much for that. That means a lot, and your kind words as well. Um, Going back to Stinky Coma, yeah, so there are cavities under the Sphinx. Sahuas says there's nothing there. A ground radar, and when they of course, they had so they drilled into it and sent cameras down there, but they never showed the public what they saw. They just said there was nothing down there, and there's some groundwater. I don't know about with them hitting granite, it's pretty wild. But I know that there's been studies of the Sphinx where not everything has been shared with the public. That I do know, which is wild. Let's see here. What other questions you can get from here? Do, 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 Let me skip back and forth. Yeah, Rumble's hooking us up. We got some good views on here. Someone says you need to work on your sound. It's currently fuzzy and clipping off. That sucks. Should be good on this mic. Let me go like this. How does it sound to everyone else? How's the sound sounding, people? I'm looking on. Hit one if the sound is good. Hit two if the sound is not good. I'm gonna be looking here. Sounds okay. Sounds fine. You can sound is bad, bad, not good, not good. Fuzzy. Sound is scratchy. Better now. One, two. Oh, it's all over the place. Sounds like arse. That sucks. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to play around with my sound capabilities here, people. That's disappointing. I wonder if that's better. I wonder if it's because this wire is touching this. That's frustrating. All right, I get it. It could be a lot better. The show goes on. I can't do anything about it now. Um, Dark Fox 2000. Good evening, Jimmy. Keep up the great work. And I like the plants in the background. I have ones behind, or I have the ones behind your right shoulder. Thank you. Plants make a house vibe so much better. It's the best decorating you can do, honestly. It makes the whole place feel alive. It just does something to the air as well. I swear. I feel like it purifies something. Um, let's see here. Number 10, thank you so much. If you change the speed of the moon's orbit, would it cause massive flooding? Yeah. Our tides are influenced more than anything because of the Earth's, or excuse me, the moon's forces on it. Now, if we did not have a moon, apparently the tides would be twice as strong and twice as delayed, or something to that. I might be messing that up. But the moon contributes to the tides that we have, and which causes the most abundance of life in the Earth's oceans is dependent on the tides. Um, most of the Earth's, or most of the ocean life is dependent on the tides off the coast. Very interesting stuff. So without the moon, or if the moon changed in some way, yeah, it would massively affect it, either for better or worse. Nikki Nada said, Jimmy, do you know any developments on the Scan Pyramid project? They found a giant void like 4 years ago. Crickets, right? I heard there was going to be a big announcement. I heard this just like a couple months ago. There was a big announcement coming, and then, as far as I know, it's just crickets since. So I don't know what's going on there. I mean, it's like they find this huge void above the Grand Gallery, essentially, about the same size of it. I think we found a second Grand Gallery. Um, and then nothing. I'm like, I don't believe for a second that they wouldn't have gone in there and drilled and stuck cameras in through there. Egypt's shitty like that, guys. Like, I feel like they are so protective that if they find something astonishing, they're gonna keep it for themselves or whatever. I don't know. It's really discouraging, actually. Nikki Nada and study Bitcoin. I know. Thank you so much. I almost feel like the Bitcoin thing. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like I'm way late on that. Let's see. Let me double check. Oh, who's this loser? It says I. Let me. You're getting banned. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. All right. Gone. I'm not gonna read that person's comment that was even on Rumble. You troll. Uh, that's funny. Yeah, I got rid of him. Gone. A troll. That's funny. Banned forever. All right. Let's see here. Second. Man, that bummed me out about the sound, guys. It should be much better, but this microphone is the microphone I use. This is my Rhodes mic. I use it on all my videos. It's perfect, but I'm using StreamYard, and maybe it's just the software that I'm using. All right. I wanna answer some questions here. I'm just gonna go for a little bit longer here. It's Friday evening, got a big weekend. I hope, to all of you that celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. To those of you who don't, enjoy the day off, hopefully. Or just enjoy some good downtime, unplug. I'm gonna be working on my next video. I'm not gonna share exactly the topic, what it is, but the timing is right on it. I want it to be provocative. I intend to have it done before the end of the year, so I'm gonna be hammering away at that. Getting together with family for Christmas, but before and after, I'm just gonna be hammering away. I need to nail that out. And what, a week and a couple days, so I need to nail that out. Someone says your sound is choppy and you're on YouTube. Exit, come back in. We'll fix it. Okay. Someone said if you're on YouTube, exit, come back in, the sound's fine. That's interesting. Brittany, I don't know if you're talking to me, but people said that the sound was better when they went back into my stream. That's interesting. Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. Um, yeah, someone's asking how could Egyptians move 500 plus ton blocks? Again, I see people talking about moving this stuff on water, but hey, how are you moving 1,000 tons on that bad boy? I'm not saying it's not possible. We do it today. Somebody did it back then. But really, what my thesis, if I had a thesis, is that what we were taught about in school about the ancient Egyptians for how they moved any type of weight, there's no explanation for how they move stones of this magnitude, not even remotely close, not even remotely. And my thesis is that there were things that were done long ago that have since been lost, whether it predates the Egyptians or whatever it is, that there is lost history, and the known tooling capabilities of the dynastic Egyptians that we were taught about, this stuff far exceeds them. And again, a lot of these works, a lot of people weren't even familiar with. So many people had never heard of the Ramesses statue. So many people that follow my channel, that follow the mysteries of the ancients, sure, they sure have. But most people just walking down the street, like this stuff is just new to them. They haven't heard this stuff at all. So let's see here. Someone, oh, sorry, Mr. Your super chat. 1999. Do you think the empty quarter desert is really empty? What is that? What's the empty quarter desert? I'm gonna have to Google that. Eddie Rico said, Jimmy, have you heard about the underwater pyramids in Cuba? I have, and I think that it's bunk. So I looked into that. Now, that was like what, a 2007 or whatever that was that came out, and the pictures went all over the place. That sonar image, guys, apparently was so, it's not what it looks like. I saw the original, and I'm like, I don't see any pyramids. I don't see shit. And I feel like if that was the case, so many other amateur people would have gone down there, thrown a GoPro and some camera and lobbed it down. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying it's not there. It's just that when I saw the original scan, I'm like, this is the famous green photo that you saw that went around wasn't what it really looked like. That was completely like an artist rendition. It was very deceptive. So a total bummer, to be honest with you. Paul, I live in rural Montana. I have personally witnessed something from out of this world. It's all real. They are here. Just wanted to say, don't leave us with that, Paul. You got to keep talking. What did you see? Was it like Bigfoot? Was it like an orb? Something flying through the woods? Let me tell you what my brother and his wife saw. And they're trustworthy people. They don't make shit up. They're not storytellers. This was a couple years ago. They were staying at an Airbnb cabin up on the Mogollon Rim in Arizona, and it was at dusk. And they were hanging out on the patio, looking over, the sky. And they saw. They're like, "What's that?" You see this glowing orb going horizontal across the sky, like a yellow orangish. And then they're looking at it like, "What the heck is that?" It stops and goes poof, straight up to outer space, like in an instant. And they're like, they never could figure out what the hell that was. They know what they saw, defy the laws of physics, just a right angle. What was that? It's the same thing that's been described by so many other people, an orb that's like going and then just shoots off. So is it a drone? Is it top secret technology? Is it beings amongst us? What the hell is it? I need to see something myself to really be certain. But Mark Adam, love your work, Jimmy. Hope you and your loved ones have an amazing Christmas and blessed New Year. Thank you so much. That's very nice of you to say, Mark. And I wish the same to you and everyone else watching, listening right now. That means a lot. Um, Especially with how crazy the world is now. It's easy to get down. A lot of people need to spread more joy, like because we're witnessing all kinds of crazy stuff happen in this world, and things are heading into an uncertain path. I am particularly concerned over the next year, that is specifically the next like 10, 11 months. I had one big prediction is that the world will be different by then. I think the powers that be are fixing to do something crazy between now and the next election. We'll see. I think everyone needs to be vigilant and smart and be paying attention to the world because there are big things happening. I do believe that is the case. Um, what do you guys think's coming? You guys had to predict what's happening. What's going to come into the world in the near future? I'd be curious. In the next elections. Oh yeah, people bringing up the Colorado Supreme Court. Oh my God, that is going to get overturned. It has to be. This is heading down an extremely dangerous, dark path. You can't keep going down this path. Okay, your mofo super chat. I would love to see the pyramids with my own eyes one day. Is it sketchy to visit? No, it's not. Egypt is safe. It's totally safe. I've been there 3 times now. It is safe. Said, don't go wandering around the streets of Cairo by yourself at night. That wouldn't be smart. I sure as hell wouldn't do that in most any city I live in or I visit in the United States now. But visiting Egypt is unbelievably safe. The the Egyptian government takes it so serious. Like just to get in any hotel, you go. It's like going through the airport. You go through a metal detector and everything. Everything is locked down. I felt unbelievably safe. They have Egyptian tourism police there with AKs, keeping an eye on all the sites. Egypt tourism in Egypt is their number one thing. They need it. They're dead serious about keeping that place safe. Years since there's been a terrible incident. I highly recommend Egypt. You can travel there affordably. It's doable. And if you're thinking about going, I'd recommend going now. Pull the trigger. Tomorrow is not processed or processed. Tomorrow is not promised. And so it's like the saying goes: get busy living or get busy dying. And to go there and see these beginnings with your own eyes, like the Great Pyramid of Giza at its height was equivalent to a 47-story building. Now it's like 43, 44 stories because the missing capstone is 30 feet smaller now. So you're looking at like a 44-story building today as it stands, and you look at it and you're like, oh my God. Like from the base of it to the middle of the capstone is 355 feet, over 100 meters, because the base is 750 feet wide on all four sides, which means 755 feet wide to one side or the other. If you go to the middle, it's 350 feet basically from where you stand at the base to the top. You can't even see it because it's another. It's just you're looking at it. Was it 51 degrees or was it 26 degrees? What am I talking about? And but you can't see the top of it. Wild stuff. It's like it's a must see in person. A must see. Get off that couch and go, as I say. Let's see what else is going on here. Thank you to everyone tuning in from Rumble and on YouTube. Looks like we got a pretty good turnout on this Friday night. Look at this. Look at all of us here. This is wild. Man, I got twice as many people watching on Rumble than I do on YouTube. See, this is what I'm talking about. People wonder like why I'm on Rumble. It's like, man, Rumble's real good to me. They promote my stuff. Something to be said for that, isn't there? I mean, I'm grateful to YouTube. They've been real good to me as well. But like my following, I got less than 100,000 followers on Rumble, and yet I have double the live stream views than I do on YouTube right now. Figure that out. See what I'm saying, people? Real quick, if you haven't already, hit the like button. I guess, maybe that'll stir something in the algorithm, right? All you gotta do is press, not too hard. But I love you all anyways. Let's see here. I want to ask some more questions. JL, you've been way too generous. Got a new one coming in. It's been a lifelong dream of mine to climb the Great Pyramid. I know they said it's not allowed now, but is there any way I could talk to someone and get permission from the Egyptian authorities? I just have to do it. It's on my list. Okay, brother, I feel the same way, and I've looked into this. They won't. They just won't. It used to be something doable. Now they're so serious about it that they will throw you in prison. The max, they'll throw you in a Cairo jail for up to 30 days and fine you 100,000 Egyptian pounds. A few years ago when I was there, that was equivalent to about 4,000 US dollars. Now, because the Egyptian pound has fallen, it's like the last I looked, it'd be like $3,200. Brother, it's highly likely you'll get caught. You may even get injured while doing it. People have died trying to find that thing. And although I feel the same, like I really want to climb it. I have that spiritual calling. I really, really, really want to do it. But like they won't grant you permission. They just won't. They're not doing it for anybody anymore. And if they are, it's on some DL thing for some huge amount of money to some cool kid, some celebrity or something. And even then, I don't think they're doing it. I would say don't. It's not worth going to a Cairo jail, man. There was a YouTuber that did this. Okay, so look into that guy. Who was that prankster guy? Um, he was like Russian. What's his name? I'm forgetting it. Forgive me. But he did this like a year or two ago, and he got caught. He knew he was getting caught. He just ran up and did it in front of everybody in broad daylight. And bro, they threw him in jail for a solid week. He said it was one of the worst experiences of his whole life. He crapped himself the whole time because they gave him spoiled whatever or dirty water, whatever the problem was. If you're an American, your belly can't tolerate some Cairo unfiltered water. I don't know, man. I feel the same way. I'd like to go do it. I just don't know if the consequence is worth it. That's what only you can decide. Only you can decide that one. Let's see here. I want to go for a few more minutes. I'm getting a little tired. It's been a big, big week. We got a big, big weekend in front of us. Oh my God, Paul, $100. Holy crap. We are definitely in a spiritual war. It's about to show itself. I hope all are ready. Brother, I could not agree more. We're living in a spiritual warfare. We're living in a time of good versus evil. This was written about in scripture thousands of years ago. Hold on. I'm not some Bible thumper, but I'm like, guys, there is a difference between good and evil, right versus wrong, true and false. And it's like history's repeating itself. It's like we're living in a time where everything is upside down, where like lawlessness and is being commended and truth is being censored, and people that are doing the right thing and speaking up are being persecuted. This is backwards. This is not supposed to be like this. And more people I talk to feel the same way, that this is something. There is a battle of good versus evil happening, and I'm a believer. I'm a believer in the Most High. I don't like to use the word God because to a lot of people they don't like that. It has a certain notion to it. And I'm talking about the Most High, the source of all that is, the grand creator, whatever you want to call it. I believe we are part of something incredibly special, and that our lifetime, maybe it's a test. I don't know exactly what this is, but it's special. I don't believe that we're part of a primordial soup of chemicals and heat and moisture coming together. No, like this is love goes beyond that. And it doesn't make sense. And so I'm with you. Like people need to armor themselves with not just love, that sounds cheesy, but like awareness. People need to be paying attention more than ever. There are bad things that are afoot. If you agree, if that resonates with you, leave a comment and support Paul right now. Paul, thank you for supporting me. And Out of all comments to make, I really that was I feel like this is what people need to hear. JL again, man, you are so generous. You were in the service like me. I was CB, Navy, right on. And I had someone in my battalion go to the Japanese prison, and they literally spent 60 days in there, and they have PTSD from it. So yeah, I can only imagine what Cairo jail is like. Oh my god, that sounds awful. What happened to the? Don't leave another super chat. You're too generous. Like, what happened? Were they raped? Did they get the crap beat out of them? Someone like me would not do well in jail. I'm just too much of a pretty boy looking, skinny little white guy, right? Like I'd get preyed upon in some foreign jail. They would split me in half. And you know how. It would be horrendous. Someone like me, because I'm a fighter, I'd fight back. It's just in my instinct. Like someone pushes me, I punch. And so I'd be killed. They'd curb stomp me. Oh, it'd be the worst thing ever. Oh, it'd be so bad. I'd have to join a gang just to survive and have to do them favors. Oh, it'd be horrendous. Not funny, not funny. Um, yeah. I want to see what these comments are involving what people, if they resonate with what Paul was saying, involved us being in a spiritual war right now. Because I couldn't agree more. I really couldn't agree more. See what people are saying. Yeah, people say, good job, Paul. Yeah, people are commending him. I couldn't agree more. Real quick, to those of you who haven't seen the video that this live stream is mostly about, go watch the video after this live stream. It's 13 minutes long. Most recent video on Rumble and my most recent video on YouTube, minus I made a little brief clip of it. It's worth your time. 13 minutes, got less than a quarter million views, which is low for me, but the thumbs up on it were particularly high. Like I know, like I have a gauge now of like kind of like the bearing of like, okay, for this many views, if it has this many likes, I know it's a really good one, and anything less, I'm like, okay, it's here. This one was particularly high, but again, it uses some of my other videos, and I know it's worth your time. It really paints a picture of just how mysterious works of the ancient Egyptians are when they move such massive stones. Because I put it into comparison for how we do these things today. So if you're just tuning in and you haven't seen that 13-minute video, I assure you it's worth your time. You'll learn something from it. It's something that I made that I know can be shared with others to be like, this is the mystery. People will really go in on debates of how they built the pyramids and moved 2.5 ton stones. Fair play. This takes things to a whole other level, which raises questions about physics. Like we're talking 1,000-ton stones. So if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Let me get on these the chat over here. Let me scroll back over to YouTube. Kanijita, if I said that correctly, have you ever heard of Jesse Lee Peterson? I don't want to say no. Let me just do a double check on Google. Jesse Lee Peterson, American radio host. I don't know if I know him. I'm gonna have to check him out. All right, he's conservative, right on. Let's see him. Look up his Instagram. I'm gonna have to listen to him. I feel like I'm not familiar with him, but since you brought him up, maybe that's a calling and I need to check him out. I'll check him out. Thank you for the recommendation. Let's see. Someone said, adjust your mic, please. Okay, so what's it sounding like? And I'm gonna be wrapping this up in a couple minutes. I wonder if it's because it's touching that. Is that better now for a second? Maybe it's because the wires are touching. It's so frustrating, guys. I've had a lot of mic. I've gone through multiple mics trying to make these live streams work, and I need to upgrade the whole freaking setup here. I need to get a whole external thing going on. Oh my god, it keeps coming in and out. I'm getting frustrated. Out. Yeah. Okay. Someone said it sounds good to me. Someone says there's backfeed for the mic. Adjust your noise gate. It sounds like your mic is under fuzzy shirt. Hold on. Is this better? Does this help at all? It's still mixed. So many people are saying it sounds good to me. People say it sounds like a bad connection or slow internet. It's not the slow internet. I'm plugged into the router and this is gigabit. Oh no. I'm so sorry. How frustrating. JL said it's terrible. You can't really stand up in your cell. You're only fed fish heads with rice. By the way, anyone that's getting caught up, JL's talking about his buddy in the service that went to a Tokyo jail for 60 days. You sleep on concrete and sit in a wooden chair all day long, face forward, hands on knees, and they will fire hose you just for looking around. Oh my God. No wonder. Japan has such low crime rate, right? Like, they have, like, no there's hardly any murders and violent crime. It's super low there for how dense their population is. Dude, that sounds horrendous. I'd be curious to know what he did to get 60 days in their jail. Oh my god. Can you imagine? All day long, that's real Chinese torture, even though they're Japan, but, like, Chinese torture thing, it's like little things to just torture the hell out of somebody. So just sit there straight with your hands on your knees all day long, don't look around. See, at least in American prison, you could just goof off and talk to people. You know, if you're in solitary confinement, that's torture in itself. But most jails, people just socialize all day long. But to be just, oh my god. Someone said now the sound is bad. Okay, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. This sound thing is bothering me. That breaks my heart. This is a shame because I got so many awesome super chats coming in. Guys, sorry about the sound thing. I'll get this worked out for next time. It'll be a couple weeks before my next live stream. But in the meantime, stay tuned for my next video. It'll be done before the new year. At least that's the plan. Should be a good one. Thank you guys all for your support. I hope you guys have a lovely Christmas. Stay tuned. If you're not following me on Twitter, I highly recommend you do so. Follow me on Locals, by the way. Support me on Locals. I'll be doing a Q&A exclusive to all paid supporters on Locals before the end of the year. I do them every month on Locals, so check that out. But let's see here. Yeah, thank you guys so much. You all have a great night. Thank you for your time. Sorry about the audio issues. This was a lot of fun. We'll do it again soon, but stay tuned for my next video. And to those of you that haven't watched my most recent video, the 13-minute one involving the moving of 1,000-ton stones, check it out. With all that said here, guys, I love you, and I'll see you again soon. Bye now.